deep in the frozen bowels of Siberia, where shadows cling to secrets older than time itself, a discovery in 1969 shattered the boundaries of human understanding. Beneath 70 meters of primordial coal, a layer untouched for 800 million years, in the epoch before the first dinosaurs stalked the Earth, Soviet miners unearthed a nightmare of elegance, a marble sarcophagus, its carvings so unnervingly precise they seemed carved not by tools, but by forces beyond mortal hands. Inside lay a figure suspended in a translucent pink liquid, her skin luminous as moonlight, her features frozen in a slumber defying millennia. They called her Princess Tyissoon, a name whispered with equal parts reverence and dread. Her hair cascaded like liquid bronze, her dress woven from a fabric so delicate it shimmered like spider silk. Yet it refused to decay, a material no modern science could replicate. Beside her rested a sleek black box, its purpose inscrutable in 1969 but hauntingly familiar decades later. A shape mirroring the smartphones of a future she predated by eons. The air in that subterranean chamber thickened with the weight of the impossible. Here was a woman preserved with chilling perfection, her sarcophagus entombed in strata older than complex life itself. What ancient hands crafted this? The coal around her whispered of a time when Earth's continents lay unrecognizable, when life itself crawled in primordial seas. Yet her existence mocked the timeline of evolution, her flawless form a ghostly rebuke to history. The pink liquid, a fluid that defied decay, suggested a technology unbound by time, a science that could cheat death itself. But when Soviet scientists drained it, her radiance withered into ashen decay, as though the liquid had been the final tether binding her to a forgotten world. This was no mere archaeological curiosity. It was a riddle carved in marble, a key to doors humanity had not yet dared to open. Was she a queen of a lost civilization, one that mastered biology and time before vanishing into Earth's merciless memory? Or something other? A traveler from stars older than the sun, her sarcophagus a cryogenic pod from a cosmic catastrophe. The miners who found her met grisly fates, accidents too convenient, bodies found twisted in inexplicable agony. The Soviets sealed the site, buried records, and silenced witnesses. Yet the question lingers, echoing through Siberia's eternal frost. What sleeps beneath us still? The sarcophagus refused to yield its secrets. Soviet scientists, armed with radiocarbon counters and isotopic arrays, stared into a void where time itself seemed fractured. Every test spat back gibberish, dates that spiraled into the absurd, values that shattered the limits of their instruments. The marble, the fabric, even the pink liquid that cradled the woman's form like a lover's embrace, all defied the laws of decay. Geological analysis delivered the final blow. The coal encasing the tomb had hardened 800 million years ago, a number that tore through textbooks like a blade. This was an era when Earth was a hellscape of volcanic fumes and primordial tides, long before the first multicellular life dared to stir. Yet here lay a woman, her cells intact, her skin supple, her hair gleaming as if freshly washed. The liquid, a viscous, rosy elixir, was no mere preservative. It was alchemy, a substance that suspended biology in a phantom stasis, guarding her against the ravages of epochs. When drained, her corpse withered within minutes, as though the liquid had been a pact with time itself, a pact broken by human hands. The implications were a slow-burning terror. What civilization or entity could engineer such a fluid? Its properties bordered on sorcery, halting entropy, preserving soft tissue with a precision modern science could not fathom. The scientists' reports trembled with uneasy hypotheses. Was this a relic of a hyper-advanced race that walked the planet before continents split? Or a cargo from beyond the stars, carrying technology that rendered death obsolete? The pink liquid, they noted, left no molecular fingerprints, no degradation, no bacterial traces. It simply was, as eternal as the void between galaxies. But the deeper they dug, the more the data curdled. Files vanished, labs went silent. Whispers spread of a team member who'd poured a droplet of the liquid into a petri dish, only to watch it move, slithering like mercury toward the light. Another claimed the woman's DNA, when sequenced, echoed patterns unlike anything terrestrial. By the time the Kremlin ordered all research buried, the scientists had already begun to unravel. One confessed in a shredded diary, "We opened a door that was never meant to be found. Now something watches us from the other side." The sarcophagus was no mere tomb. It was a riddle etched in the bones of the earth, a warning, or perhaps a lure. And the pink liquid, a key to doors that should have stayed locked. The Soviet machine moved with a predator's efficiency. Within hours of the discovery, the mine became a ghost zone. Soldiers in charcoal grey uniforms cordoning off the village, their faces blank as tombstones. Witnesses were plucked from their homes, interrogated in rooms thick with cigarette smoke and unspoken threats. Miners who'd gazed upon the sarcophagus vanished into the Siberian night. Their families told only lies. Drunk, reckless, a tragic accident. Scientists who dared to question were reassigned to remote Arctic outposts, their careers dissolving like frost in fire. But the true horror lay in what followed. Whispers of 2 more sarcophagi unearthed near a glacial lake, their marble identical, their contents just as unnervingly pristine. Yet no records survived, no photographs, just gaps in archives, voids where data should have been. A bureaucratic black hole swallowing every trace. This was no ordinary cover-up. It reeked of primal fear. Why erase everything? The answer slithered. In the margins, the Kremlin, a regime built on absolute control, had stumbled upon a truth too destabilizing to acknowledge. A truth that unraveled not just history, but humanity's place in it. The sarcophagi were not relics, they were threats. One geologist, decades later, would recount in a trembling interview how soldiers hauled the artifacts onto armored trucks under aurora-lit skies. "They treated them like live munitions," he muttered, "like the coffins might wake up. But secrets have a half-life." Fragments surfaced, a lab technician's journal smuggled out in a coat lining, describing how the pink liquid samples reacted to electricity, swirling as if alive. A radiologist's final letter, postmarked days before his suicide, confessed that the woman's body emitted faint radiation. Not decay, but a signal, like she's waiting. And then there were the disappearances. A biologist who'd analyzed the fabric was found in his dacha, frozen solid in July, his notes charred to ash. An KGB archivist, tasked with burning evidence, reportedly screamed for 3 nights straight before being hauled to an asylum, his tongue bitten through. The silence grew teeth. Villagers near the sealed mine swore they heard machinery grinding. Underground, even years later, drills biting deeper, as if hunting for more tombs. Or prisons. The Soviet Union collapsed, but the sarcophagi never resurfaced. Were they destroyed, hidden, or do they still lie in some forgotten bunker, their liquids slowly evaporating, their occupants inching toward awakening? The truth, like the miners who found them, is buried. But in Siberia, the permafrost preserves everything, even ghosts. Theories coiled around the sarcophagus like serpents in a forbidden garden, each more unsettling than the last. The first, pre-human civilization, painted a vision of Earth as a graveyard for empires older than mountains. Imagine a world where intelligent life clawed its way to glory long before the dinosaurs, mastering biotechnologies that could bend time itself, a society that sculpted marble into tombs immune to erosion, engineered fluids to cheat decay, and then vanished. Was this princess a queen of that lost epoch? Her people erased by some cataclysm so total it left no trace but her? The coal bed, aged 800 million years, became a silent witness. If true, humanity is but a flicker in a cycle of rise and ruin, doomed to repeat the oblivion of those who came before. Her dress, woven from fabric defying all known physics, hints at a craftsmanship born of alien genius, or worse, a science we've yet to rediscover, or survive. But the second theory slithered deeper into the cosmic dark. The extraterrestrial hypothesis whispered of starfarers stranded on a primordial Earth. Her skin, luminous, too pale as if evolved under a dimmer sun, suggested biology shaped by alien skies. The sarcophagus, with its sleek geometry and unfathomable preservation fluid, mirrored designs found in UFO lore, a cryogenic pod from a dying ship, its occupant frozen mid-flight through the void. The black box? A device to signal home, perhaps, or a library of dead constellations. And the pink liquid, could it be starlight distilled into a serum, a foreign tech hibernating her cells until rescue? Or punishment? Soviet scientists noted her DNA's wrongness, patterns echoing no earthly lineage, as if her very cells were coded in a language older than DNA itself. Yet both theories converge in a chilling truth. She does not belong here. Whether queen of a buried Atlantis or castaway from a galaxy gutted by war, her presence unravels the hubris of human history. The Soviets knew. Why else bury the research, burn the photos, silence the geologists who swore the coal seam shimmered under UV light, as though the tomb's walls were laced with celestial residue? One dissident researcher, before his suicide, scribbled, "A final warning. She is not our ancestor, she is our replacement." The sarcophagus, then, is neither grave nor relic. It is a harbinger, a clock ticking backward. And as the permafrost thaws, who knows what else stirs in Siberia's depths, waiting to rewrite our end. In death followed them like a shadow. The miners who dared disturb the sarcophagus's slumber became pawns in a game older than sin. The first to fall was Ivan Petrov, the foreman who'd struck the marble with his pickaxe. 3 weeks after the IC discovery, his motorcycle accidentally veered into a truck on a barren road. A crash so violent, his body was identified only by a scarred wristwatch. The state declared him drunk, though his wife swore he'd never touched a drop. Neighbors spoke of his final days, how he'd wake screaming, clawing at his throat, muttering about cold hands. In the dark. Then came Yuri, a laborer who vanished during a routine hunt. They found him curled on the riverbank, skin blue as Arctic ice, eyes frozen wide, despite the balmy autumn air. His lips were split into a rictus grin, as though death had whispered a joke only he could hear. The villagers didn't need scientists to explain the pattern. They called it prokliati, the curse, a vengeance seeping from the sarcophagus, punishing those who'd trespassed against its ancient sanctity. By 1972, 11 men linked to the mine were dead. Suicides with no notes, drownings in shallow ponds, a geologist whose lab spontaneously combusted as he slept. Each corpse bore the same eerie signature: unnatural coldness, limbs contorted as if fleeing an unseen force. Even the skeptics faltered. How else to explain the mechanic who tore out his own tongue, scribbling "Hoshi walks" in his own blood before collapsing? Or the nurse who tended the miners, found mummified in her apartment, her walls coated in frost patterns resembling molecular structures? The Kremlin dismissed it as hysteria, but their heavy-handed silence only fed the dread. Why dispatch a Spetsnaz unit to exhume graves? Why burn the village church to ash? The curse, some whispered, was no superstition. It was alive, a remnant of whatever power guarded the princess, seeping into the world like a toxin, the pink liquid, the undecaying flesh, the black box humming faintly when scanned. All threads of a tapestry too terrible to behold, science shrugs. It speaks of stress, of coincidence. But in Siberia, where the wind carries voices from under the ice, they know better. The miners didn't just unearth a tomb. They woke something that had slept through the birth of continents, and now it hunts, patient as the permafrost, hungry as the void between stars. The curse, you see, isn't in the dying, it's in the waiting. Who's next? The sarcophagus did more than defy history. It shattered it. Here, in the frozen wastes of Siberia, lay a truth that gnaws at the edges of reason. A woman entombed 800 million years before the first human walked, her existence a blade slicing through the spine of evolutionary dogma. Was she a queen? A voyager? Or something older, darker, hungrier? The implications fester. If her civilization thrived in Earth's primordial dawn, what cataclysm erased them so utterly? And if they mastered time itself, as the pink liquid suggests, why leave only this lone grave? The questions breed nightmares. Archaeologists whisper of a historical immune response, humanity's desperate urge to reject truths that unmake our myths of supremacy. But the data remains. The coal, the liquid, the fabric, all mock our timelines, our hubris. The memorial stone erected near the mine is no tribute, it's a confession. A slab of granite etched with sterile words, its vagueness a scream of institutional terror. Acheu, a young woman, hundreds of millions of years ago. No name, no context, just a void where answers should be. Visitors report an unnatural chill near the stone, as if the earth itself resents its presence. Locals leave offerings, coins, flowers, vials of vodka, pleased to appease whatever still lingers. Scientists scoff, yet none camp there after dark. The wind carries whispers in no known language. But the true horror lies in what isn't said. If one sarcophagus exists, how many more lie buried? Are they inert or dormant? The Soviets' panicked cover-up suggests they feared the latter. And what of the liquid's properties? Could it resurrect? Could it infect? Modern labs, armed with CRISPR and quantum sensors, dare not replicate it. One misstep, and we might revive not a princess, but a pathogen or a signal. The stone's silence is a riddle written in ice. It does not say, "Here sleeps the end of your world." It does not need to. In Siberia, the ground remembers. And as the permafrost retreats, secrets older than bone begin to breathe. What else will we dig up? Or, terrifying thought, what else will dig out? As the screen fades to static, the weight of the unsaid lingers like a ghost in the room. The story of Princess Tyissoon does not end here. It infects. Her sarcophagus, her curse, the liquid that defied time, they are fragments of a puzzle humanity was never meant to solve. But what if there are more, beneath deserts, under oceans, in the molten veins of volcanoes? What other tombs lie waiting? The video's final plea is not a request, it's a dare. Subscribe. A simple word, yet here it thrums with the gravity of a forbidden pact. This channel is no mere curator of mysteries. It is a smuggler of truths, a lantern held against the void. Each click of follow is a step deeper into the labyrinth, where history's censored pages whisper of cities buried before the dinosaurs, of astronauts entombed in Earth's crust, of technologies that blur the line between miracle and menace. But be warned, curiosity has teeth. To press subscribe is to open a door that cannot be closed. You will glimpse archives stamped classified. In blood-red ink, hear audio tapes of scientists begging for their sanity. Watch footage of excavations halted by gunfire. The algorithm becomes a Ouija board, guiding you to revelations that cling like cobwebs. Stories of the Voynich manuscript's alien botanicals, of Antarctic pyramids humming with cold fusion, of Soviet dissidents who claim to have communicated with the princess's black box. The truth is not free. It demands a price. Sleepless nights, sidelong glances at shadows, the gnawing sense that our world is a stage. And something older is writing the script. So, will you linger in the safe glow of the known? Or will you step into the dark, where history's monsters and marvels claw at the edges of understanding? The choice is yours. But remember, every notification bell that chimes carries an echo of that Siberian mine. A reminder that the past is not dead, it's not even past, it's hungry, and it knows you're watching.